Okay, so now that I got my UVs laid out and I've got a UV map saved out, I can open that in Photoshop. So I'm going to go to File, Open. I'm going to navigate to where my file was saved. My Images folder. I'm going to click Open. And because I saved it as a PNG, what's nice is it actually has transparency saved with it. It has an alpha channel. And so first thing I'm going to do is create a solid layer. Set it to white. And then drop that below my UVs layer. Okay. Now I want to select this UV layer and I'm going to lock it, because the last thing we want to do is edit this UV layer. If we do that, then it's not going to give us a true representation of what is needed in Maya. Okay, so now I'm going to add another layer and it will exist below the UVs layer and my background layer. So I'll just go ahead and rename these. Okay. And I'll call this one my textures, or texture. Okay, now you can have any number of layers you want to. I'm not, unless I feel like it's necessary, I'm not really planning on diving into Photoshop too much on how to teach you Photoshop, but I will do some basics real quick. And so you have these different layers, and they work like transparencies. And I set this background layer so that I wouldn't have a transparent background currently. But if I wanted one, all I would have to do is turn this off. And then all these other layers, the reason they have checker on them is because they are transparent. Okay, so one thing I like to do is I like to use these adjustment layers to pick my overall colors. So I'll go to solid color, and I'm going to choose a good color for what I feel like, well, in my case, the color of a swan should be like, which is going to be a very pale yellow, really bright. In my mind, that's what it should look like. Okay. Now, I'm going to create another layer on top of that, another adjustment layer, and just so you know, this is just one of many ways to do this. Create another solid layer. This time I'm just going to set it to black. Maybe I'll go a little brown, dark brown, really dark brown. Okay. Now these parts over here are called masks. So this is the mask for this brown layer, and I can tell, with the mask, I can tell Photoshop which part of this layer to show. So if I switch to my brush tool and I set my color swatches to their default values, and I make sure that the black is on top, so I can do that by pressing X if I want to. I can swap and put black as my foreground color. Now I'm going to switch to my paint bucket tool, and I'm just going to fill this layer black. And so you can see, because I had the layer mask selected, it turned that layer mask black, and therefore this brown color is not showing anywhere now. Okay? Now if I press X on my keyboard, it swaps the colors. So now I have white on top. And I can switch to my brush tool, and anywhere I color white on the mask is going to reveal this dark brown color. The nice part about using masks is I don't have to go back and actually delete stuff. It's never officially gone because the mask just reveals or hides things. So that's important to that can save you a lot of trouble. Let's just put it that way. So I'm going to zoom in. The shortcut to zoom in is Control Spacebar, and I'm going to start. I don't know. I guess we'll just start. I'll start on the head. Okay, and I'm going to start to. And I've got my tablet hooked up, but you could do this with your mouse as well, or on one of the monitors. And I'm going to start to reveal this black texture. But I'm going to change the flow before I do that. I'm going to change it to some smaller value, like 30%. And these are all just guesses. I'm not saying you have to do it exactly like this. But I'm going to change the eyelid of my swan. So I think that's too dark. So I'm undoing. To undo in Photoshop multiple steps, you have to press Control-Alt-Z. I'm going to set this to even smaller value. And because I've got the UVs here, I can kind of follow my edge flow and know where this is going to show up. So I don't know if swans have black eyes or not, but this one does. Or he's going to. So I ended up making it pretty dark. But also I'm going to take this area right here, just the part just above the bill, and make it black, because I'm pretty sure that is black on swans. Or something of the sort. And I can start, so in essence, I can just start coloring this in. So I'm going to turn down my opacity too, because it's still working a little fast for me. I'm going to increase my brush size, something quite a bit larger. I'm going to switch to a different brush. So I'm going to go to my brush palette, to the brush presets, and I'm just going to switch to one of these more normal brushes. I'm going to kind of put some darkness around the eye. Okay. Now I can use any of these tools I want to. I'm going to use my smudge tool. I'm going to kind of smudge this area here. Kind of mush it around, get it to look a little bit nicer. Okay, I can zoom out by holding down Control Spacebar Alt and then clicking. And there's my texture. So I can continue to edit this to my heart's content. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more. Kind of having fun right here. I'm gonna switch again to my blur tool. Smudge. I'm gonna use my blur actually. Change the size of it up. I'm just gonna blur that area a little bit. Now something to take into account Now, remember